So welcome everyone. So welcome. As you know, if you have any questions, you're welcome to pose them anytime that you would like via the chat box or simply by posing your question. It helps to mute your mic. Otherwise, unmute your mic myself from here in order to avoid ambient noise.
Magdi?
Yes.
Hi.
Yes. Hello.
Magdi,
Is this Marjorie, or who is this?
Jenny.
Oh yes. Hello, Marjorie. Yes. Yes.
Once you said, or I understood in the retreat, and personally to me, that what we do by being aware of awareness is contrary to mindfulness. How is it that, what is mindfulness for you, or just, I would like you to talk about that.
Yes. So mindfulness still has an objective quality. There is still a subjective and an objective quality in mindfulness. So you are mindful of your thoughts, or you are mindful of your perceptions, or you are mindful of your feelings. So in mindfulness, there is the attention that is placed upon the objects, upon whatever it is that is perceived, in order to have sort of like a more clarity about what you are seeing. So there is still an objective, subjective, objective relationship in mindfulness, Jenny. Now, contemplation of consciousness is totally different. It is turning your attention towards that which perceives, towards, first of all, the fact, meaning the reality of perception, meaning that there is a reality, and the reality is that which perceives. And that is a contemplation, because initially, in our habitual way of perceiving, meaning in our way of perceiving as a person, we perceive from a subjective objective dichotomy. So we perceive a reality out there, sort of a real tree, a real house, a real city, from a real separate person. That is the let's say the perception that arises from the dualistic, from the identified point of view as a person. Now, the contemplation of consciousness or awareness or presence, or the contemplation of the self, is turning your attention to the source, that which perceives, becoming aware of that reality, that there is a reality that perceives. And then the contemplation of that reality leads you to the revelation that this reality is not personal, but is universal. So the mindfulness practices are helpful in that they train the mind. They train the mind to become obedient, let's say. Train the mind to be sharper and to be maybe more stable. There are some mindfulness practices that, for example, turn your attention to the breath. Be mindful of the breath, or be mindful of the light within the heart. There are various practices in mindfulness, but some of the practices that turn your attention onto an object and onto, for example, the light onto the heart or the breath, they focus the mind so that the mind wanders less often, and whenever it wanders less often, it wanders less and less further away from, for example, the breath, whatever object you are being mindful of. There is also practices of general mindfulness, sort of just to be mindful of everything, sort of like to have like sort of a broad perspective in not it's not a focused perception, a broader mindfulness. Now, this broader mindfulness is closer to the contemplation of consciousness, in that consciousness is an openness. It's an open space. But still, it has the practice of mindfulness, even the broad mindfulness, still has a subjective and objective dimension. So it remains at the mind level. It does not lead. It's not the direct path to the reality and universality of consciousness. Is that clear, Jenny? Or?
Yes, but even when we put our awareness in the infinite space or in the space itself,
Mm-hmm.
so would you still call that is centered on a way it's objectified?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. I understand your question. Yes. There is a practice, just for other people who are listening who are not familiar with that practice, where you sort of turn your attention to the space in which thoughts or perceptions or bodily sensations arise. So rather than putting your attention on the perception or on the sensation, you're putting your attention onto the space that is into which and as which this appearance, this thought or perception is arising. And this is the question that Jenny is asking. Yes, correct, Jenny. There is still, even in that practice, there is still a certain mind quality to space, because when you turn your attention to the space, there is a concept that is the concept of space, and all concepts are still at the mind level. They still have subjective dimension to them. But the practice, let's say, and call it a practice, is not to turn your attention to the space as a concept, but the experience of consciousness. The experience of consciousness is space-like. It's because it has no borders, no objective qualities, has no phenomenal qualities. It is space-like, like sometimes we talk about the open sky, the infinite sky. The concept sky and and the thought of sky still has an objective quality, but it refers to the experience of consciousness, which is limitless, which is borderless. So yes, although there is still some possibility of perceiving this practice as still being a subjective objective, has a subjective and objective dimension to it. When you turn your attention to the experience of consciousness, meaning right now, there is this perception, and at the same time, there is awareness. But the experience of awareness, not the thought of awareness or some concept of awareness. There is an experience, there is a dimension that experiences this perception, and this dimension is real. We know it as ourself. We know it as our knowingness, as we use the term awareness, consciousness, presence, etc. So it is the experience that is being pointed towards, to turn your attention to the fact, to the reality of consciousness. And that the turning your attention to the reality of consciousness does not go via the mind, Jenny. It's a direct recognition.
And Magdi, when we put attention in the perception itself, in the the perception of different things, like the perception of whatever, the sound, the rain, your voice,
Mm-hmm.
Because it has been useful for me to see that there is no difference in the intimacy of the perception of that rain or the sensation here. But there's, the perception itself. So,
okay.
That's the question.
Yes. You see, Jenny, there is a big difference in turning your attention to a perception and turning your attention to consciousness. Because turning your attention to a perception, the perception is constantly changing. It does not have the permanence of consciousness. So when you turn your attention to a phenomenal perception, whether it's a thought, a sensation, or a word perception, you are turning your attention to something that is constantly changing. But in the contemplation of the self, we turn our attention to that which is eternal, that which does not change. So although there is the changing, there is the changeless. Now, maybe in your question, if I didn't fully understand you, you may be pointing to the fact that the perception itself, the forms, are intimate. They're quality. They're not distant. They're not apart from consciousness. And if that is the point that you are sharing, yes, that is true. The perception is not apart from consciousness. Why? Because you're only perceiving your perception. You're not perceiving a tree out there. You're perceiving your perception of the tree. And your perception is intimate with yourself. It is not apart from you. So yes, the perception is not apart from consciousness. But the contemplation is the contemplation of that is eternal, meaning the contemplation of consciousness. Yes. Okay, Jenny. So I hope this addresses your question. Okay. Oh, okay. Yes, yes, Marjorie. So in the contemplation of the self, of truth, of reality, the first realization, the first understanding is the revelation or the realization that what perceives is consciousness. The I that perceives is consciousness. It's not the body-mind that perceives. It is consciousness that perceives. The world body-mind is perceived via the body-mind, but by consciousness. That is the first understanding. And of course, the second understanding is that consciousness is universal, meaning that there aren't separate consciousnesses. It is just one reality, and that one reality, which is the reality of consciousness, is the reality of everything. So everything is the substance, that you could say, of everything is consciousness. And a good metaphor of that is in the night dream. In the night dream, all your night dreams, the substance of all the night dreams, of all what arises, is consciousness. So like this very moment, this perception, the substance of this perception, this experience, this worldly experience, is consciousness taken on this form. It is consciousness that is vibrating, let's say, as this form. But it never leaves itself. It never actually leaves itself and becomes a tree. It never leaves itself and becomes a body mind. It's like when you are in your night dream, you are in bed and you're dreaming that you are a bird flying over the Himalayas. In fact, you have not left your bed. You're not flying actually. You're not a bird actually flying over the Himalayas. You never leave yourself. Consciousness never leaves itself. So in this very moment, whatever you're perceiving is yourself. You always experiencing, the self is always experiencing itself. It is itself. It is the self. And when it exists, it is itself existing as a world body mind, meaning it remains at itself existing as this appearance, as this bodily sensation, as these thoughts. But the impetus of this understanding is the end of what we refer to as ignorance, the end of living with the impression of a separate entity. The end of that, the complete end of that, and the complete end of whatever comes with living as a personal entity, which means the sense of lack, the unhappiness, the striving, the confusion at the mind level, the unhappiness in the body mind. The end of that. That is the Ananda part of the Satchit Ananda. It is about Ananda. So the entire non-dual contemplation is about Ananda, is about bliss, is about the revelation of our innate freedom and our innate joy and happiness and creativity and grandeur. So if you have any questions, any.
Hi, hi, Magdi.
Yes,
Just,
hello.
just a question, a simple question, but probably a long answer. Should one, the Buddhist, deep Buddhist principle said one should experience everything as nirvana. Now, use the expression everything is bliss, but bliss can also be pain, I understand from Buddhism. So I was just wondering how you viewed that sort of statement, that everything arises. Nirvana is everything that arises, or Advaita is everything that arises. Therefore, what your view is on it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. You see, it is of no use to the teaching without the experience is really not the full thing. So when you hear a teaching, when you hear words of sages, they always pointing you to experience what the meaning of these words is. So everything is nirvana, meaning everything is bliss, meaning everything is the self, because the self is bliss, is freedom, happiness, joy, beingness. Everything is reality. Reality has no opposite. Yes, so there's one reality. It has no opposite. It's only in opposition. A opposed to B, that there is some sort of conflict. Me opposed to her, or me opposed to him, that there is conflict. Or me, the good me, opposed to the bad me, there's conflict. Only when there is A versus B is there some contraction in the space. But when there is one reality, there is no other reality that is pushing against it. So, yes, when you come to the contemplation, to the understanding that there is one reality, and this reality has no opposite, has nothing opposing it, then everything, meaning everything which is that one reality, it's one and the same. If there is one reality, then everything is that one reality. Actually, there are no things if there is one reality, because things refer to this and that, A, B, C, D, as if things were separate forms, separate objects. But in fact, in your night dream, there are a lot of things that appear in your night dream, a lot of perceptions, a lot of sensations, but they're all intimately you, intimately you, the dreamer. There are no separate forms. When you are dreaming of a bird and a lion, the bird and the lion are occupying the same space. Their substance is you, the dreamer. They're not. There isn't actually a lion and a bird that are two different forms. So yes, when there is one reality, there are no actual things. But if we continue to talk, why not, about things? After all, it's no big deal. All these things, given that there is one reality, are that one reality. Their substance is this one reality. And so everything is that one reality. And the reality, given that it has no opposite, is bliss, is inherent bliss. Inherently, it is bliss. So when in the Buddhist texts, they speak at all, everything is nirvana, all is nirvana, they're referring to that one reality. But the significance of this pointer is the experience. The significance is only from the experience, not from some conceptual understanding or some conceptual verbiage, but experiencing, meaning realizing that I am this one reality. That's, I'm not this separate individual, and you a separate individual, and she is a separate individual, and so on and so forth. And there is a world out there. But the revelation, the realization that all what is, everything that is experienced, refers to the one dreamer. All the dreams refer to the one dreamer. That I am, I consciousness, I reality, I truth. So this pointer that everything is bliss is a correct pointer, but is only truly correct from an experiential place, and not from a conceptual place.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
So if you contemplate, your experience, Lawrence, yes, you contemplate that all you experience 24/7 is your experience. By the way, this is a really beautiful wall in the back behind you there. I'm, just noticing that the drawing on the wall. So coming back to, yes, you always experience your experience. Yes, you're never experiencing anything but your experience. Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't that so? So you're never experiencing anything outside, anything apart. Always intimately yourself experiencing yourself in your waking dream and in your night dream. Just contemplate that. Contemplate that given that you never leave yourself, on what basis would there be an other? On what basis would there be something else? You see? Even your thought, even the thought that says there is something else, that thought, you experience that thought within yourself. You're experiencing yourself as this thought. So even when you experience the thought that there is an external reality, there is something out there, you're actually not experiencing something out there. You're experiencing your thought that says there is something out there. You see? Just contemplate that. And in that contemplation, it's a profound contemplation that will just stay with that, and you may come to notice that there's never been in your experience anything separate. You see? It's always been the wholeness. It's always been undivided wholeness. You see? And when there is an undivided wholeness, if you contemplate that deeply, then the significance of it will arise to you. The significance of this is the bliss. Is that there is never anything that is aggressing you, because there is never anything that is beyond you in your experience. Even the idea of you being a body, that idea is intimately, you're experiencing yourself as this idea. Your experience, this idea does not refer to an external reality, does not refer to a body or to some object. There is no object that you ever experience. You're only experiencing yourself. When you are perceiving an object, there is a conceptual form that's arising. For example, if you look at this glass here, and you hear it like that, this glass, you're actually not experiencing something outside of you. You're experiencing your sensation and your perception. There may be a glass out there, who knows? But you're never experiencing a glass out there. You're always experiencing your experience, your perception, your sensation. That's all you know is your perception, your sensation. You're always experiencing yourself. There may be a glass out there, but we never experience a glass out there.
I understand. Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. You've turned the statement into a koan for me. Thank you very much. A wonderful koan. Thank you so much.
Yes, it is all a lovely koan. The whole charade is a lovely koan. Enjoy the koan. Okay. Hello, David. Yeah. So, David, you're right. So the essence of the practice is to be aware that you are aware. Yes, one could say that, David, is to be aware of awareness. Is to be aware that you are aware, and to be aware that you are awareness being aware, that it is awareness that is aware. So it is not just the contemplation of, you being aware that you're aware, like there is still a you, but the you that is aware that it is aware is awareness. You follow?
Hello. Yes, I do.
Yes, David. Okay. Yes. So that's a key point, David, that what is aware, that it is aware, is awareness. It's not David. It is what we refer to as I, or the self, or consciousness, or awareness, or reality, etc. It's a key pointer, that it is always 24/7 awareness that is aware. So right now, it is awareness that is perceiving. And it is perceiving, it never goes out of itself to perceive an object and come back. It never goes out from itself. Because if it leaves itself to go towards an object, then what is it that it's left? What has it left? What is it that it has left? There is nothing that it leaves. Let's see. Because it's not like awareness is living in a shell, like a, I don't know, like a wolf is living in the den that leaves the den. No, awareness doesn't have like a border, and for any object to be perceived, there has to be a contact. There has to be a contact, and perception always refers to a contact. So, since awareness never leaves itself, and an object does not travel to it. It's not like there is an object that travels to awareness, and then suddenly awareness perceives it. No, because objects, they don't travel. So what I'm trying to point to is that awareness experiences itself as a perception, as a thought, as a sensation. There isn't a thought floating out there somewhere, and then awareness goes to it. There's an instantaneous creation of the thought and perception, simultaneous creation and perception, simultaneous creation and knowing, moment by moment. So in this very moment, there is this, the consciousness creates this form as it's knowing it intimately. There is zero time distance and zero space distance between consciousness and its knowingness. So like a metaphor is like the sun and the light of the sun. The sun and the light of the sun, although it seems that the light is arising out of the sun, that the light is itself the sun. It doesn't, the sun doesn't leave itself to become the light. But coming back to the contemplation of I am aware. Yes, oops, maybe we lost you, it looks like, but there is the recording. You can also listen to the recording. We just lost David. That awareness knows itself. You know that you are aware, but what is it that knows that it is aware? It is awareness that knows that it is aware. That is what your contemplation needs to turn its attention to. That I am awareness, aware that I'm aware. And what follows, once there is clarity that it is awareness that is aware, is the contemplation that awareness is not personal. Anyways, David, I lost you, but oh, I see. Okay, you are back.
Yes, I had to take my phone because my laptop froze.
Oh, okay, okay. So in any case, you know that this is recorded on YouTube, and you can go back, because I said a couple of things, but I think you got the gist of it.
Yes.
Just to sum it up very quickly, it is awareness that is aware that it is aware. And it's awareness that is perceiving whatever it's perceiving, it's perceiving its perceptions. Like I was sharing earlier with Lawrence, that you're never perceiving something out there, you're perceiving your perception. So awareness is perceiving itself. Yes. And finally, once there is a clarity to you that this awareness that perceives, this very moment, it's always awareness that perceives, to contemplate that awareness is not personal, it's not limited to any form. Nothing limits awareness. Meaning it's edgeless, it's borderless, it's universal. The implications of that is that it is awareness that perceives through all eyes, that hears through all ears, that perceives all minds. It perceives through all minds, and not just through the David or the Magdi or the Mary mind. So this impression of personhood, that consciousness is a person, has no validity to it. It is just a deep belief system that we inherited and that has settled in our feeling state. Most of us feel that we are a body-mind. We feel that we are a man or a woman. We feel that we are 30, 40, 50 years or whatever. We feel that we are a father, a mother, a son, a daughter. So it's a belief system and a feeling system, a feeling structure. But both the belief structure and the feeling structure are modulations of consciousness. Their substance is I consciousness. I perceive this belief. I perceive this sensation. I perceive the thoughts. There is a reality to all these sensations and thoughts and perceptions, which is I, the consciousness, that which does not change with the changing thoughts, that does not change with the changing feelings, the changing emotions. So yes, it is the contemplation of awareness, the contemplation of consciousness that is 24/7, eternal. It's beyond 24/7. I use the term 24/7, but I don't mean like time. I mean eternal. It is beyond the impressions of time, because time is a conceptual and a feeling realm. Time is a conceptual, it's a mental and a feeling realm. But I'm talking about the experiential reality of eternity, the eternity of consciousness.
Magdi?
Yes, David.
So there is no point in finding any meaning in this dream.
You see, something means or has a meaning via certain parameters that give a meaning to an experience, and from a certain point of view. So there can be various hypotheses, various points of views that are looking at a certain event and that are attributing to the event different meanings according to their parameters, their conditions, their hypotheses. So there are a lot of possible meanings that you can attribute to a certain event, and these meanings may have cultural effects, may have certain personal experiential effects on the meaning that you give them. So yes, from the absolute position, meaning from the ultimate position, ultimate reality, there is only one meaning, if you want to use that term, meaning, which is consciousness. The meaning all events is the reality that does not change. Because any other meaning that you give to any event that changes, the meaning changes across cultures, across families, across gender, etc. It's a relative meaning. So if you are looking at what is the relative meaning, then there are infinite relative meanings that are attributed by infinite minds. But if your question is about like what is the real meaning, the true meaning, I think that's more like it what the question would be. Then the true meaning has to be truth. The real meaning has to be reality. So if you want to look at the meaning, then it has to be one meaning, not a multitude of meanings, which is okay. Multitude of meanings are okay. It's just a game. But if you're looking at what is the real meaning, then there is one meaning, which is the one reality. So the meaning of all experiences, let's say, of all dreams, of all creation, is that one reality, which is.
So as you said earlier, everything points to the one reality. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, because otherwise, then there would be many meanings, and which is okay from an entertaining point of view. It's amusing. It can be fun as long as we don't kill each other over, my meaning is better than your meaning, but we could have many different meanings and just get together and chit chat and have lots of fun in sharing our various meanings. But otherwise, in terms of the reality of your question, then the meaning of all of this, I guess we refer to the waking dream and the night dream and the deep sleep. Their meaning is in Turiya, in consciousness, the revelation of the reality of consciousness, that which is eternal. Which is referred to as I am. The I, what perceives this perception right now, this presence, this beingness that is universal beingness. Its quality is isness, awareness, bliss, Satchitananda. And this does not in any way diminish the dream or ignore the dream. The dream, meaning the waking dream and the night dream, get instead freed. They get liberated in your understanding of the reality of consciousness and its universality. They get freed from the me and you quality, from the opposition, from all the contractions that occur in the dream that turn the dream into an unhappy dream. So the dream becomes a place of celebration and rejoicing and creativity and love and humor and compassion and generosity and sweetness, you see?
Mm-hmm.
So the dream gets sweetened via our understanding. It's not the purpose of the revelation of consciousness is not to sweeten the dream, but it just so happens that the revelation of consciousness also reveals the sweetness of consciousness. and reveals, of course, that the dream is not separate from consciousness, and the sweetness of consciousness is imbued into the dream. It's like when you have a virus in your body, and then the virus dies in your body, then your body feels peaceful and happy and free from all the symptoms that you were experiencing when you had the viral infection.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you for your questions, David. Yes, nice
Thank you,
to
Mike.
see you. Very lovely to see you. Hello, Renate. Hello. So, Renate, you're right. So, hello, Renate. Hello, nice to see you. So you're right. There won't be any problems with nasty landlords and noisy neighbors anymore. Yes, Renate. Yes. There won't be any problem with the nasty landlords and noisy neighbors anymore. But why? Why? Because when you love consciousness, you love beauty, you love love, you love harmony, you love presence, and you recognize everybody and everything as this love, as this presence, as this same consciousness. And so there is a change that occurs in your inner being. It's in that there is a peace and an inner tranquility that imbues you, that permeates your being. And because your being is not limited, it's not the body, it's beingness, then it goes into the entire space. And it also affects everybody that you relate with, including your landlord, etc. Now, in some cases, when there are around you people that have a certain sensitivity already, some sensitivity, but not, there is some openness, let's say, in them, then there is room in their openness for the light of presence, the light of peace, the bliss of consciousness to enter them and to affect them, to bring some shift in them, some softening in them. But of course, there has to be this openness. Now, in some cases, there is very little openness, or just barely like some openness, or no openness. And in that case, you will find yourself bumping your head against, for example, in this case, a landlord that is, their way is right, etc. And you will bump your head once or twice, but because you have no tolerance and you recognize that the path is not the path of combat, you will become open to other possibilities. And other possibilities will become open to you. That is the beauty, that is the magnificence of the revelation of consciousness, is that the change that occurs does not simply occurs within, but it also occurs in the entire dream. So remain in your relationships, remain attentive to when you contract as a me. The emotions, the feelings, the fear, the him and me, her and me. Be watchful of that. And of course, recognize that that is the path of unhappiness, the path of ignorance, the path of illusion. And release that. In other words, don't continue in that direction. That is an important sadhana. As the self is revealing itself to you, then you live in these moments where there are opportunities to contract as a me and a him. In these moments, you have to be still. Don't continue. Just be still, and in the stillness, there will be the recognition of, okay, first, the unhappiness of that path, and there would be a settling in the stillness. And then you can contemplate not just that everything is consciousness, but also what is the happy path? Is there any direction? Because it's going to come from within, meaning from consciousness. It's going to come from within that, okay, this idea of that you were contemplating to, I don't know, move to a different neighborhood, suddenly will arise to you again. And it will invite you to contemplate it. We don't know how it will go. We don't know whether the relationship with the landlord will change and soften because the landlord himself or herself will become will change, or whether you will find other avenues that become available to you and you will find yourself moving in a different direction. But the short answer to your question is yes. Yes. There won't be any problem, I would say there will not be any lasting or any lasting problems with nasty neighbors and noisy neighbors anymore. You may come upon them on occasions, but you will not find yourself living in that space. Why would you? Why? For what reason would you stay in a relationship with a nasty landlord? Except if you are in a relationship with just a landlord once or twice a year, who cares? You can tolerate a nasty landlord for once or twice a year. But if the relationship has a certain frequency to it, meaning if you are interacting with a landlord every month, every 2 weeks, receiving letters, or the superintendent of the landlord is bothering you every day or every week, so then why would you tolerate that? But you can tolerate a nasty landlord that you see once or twice a year. If the other side of the coin is you're living in a home that you like, in a neighborhood that you enjoy, close to work, close to your family, close to your friends, then yeah, you put up with it. Yeah, so what? And in terms of the noisy neighbors, similarly, if it's noisy neighbors that on occasion they have a party, okay, you can put up with it. But if it's a noisy neighbor across the wall that every day they're playing loud music or whatever they are doing, then why would you put up with that? You would approach them. There are ways probably of exploring with them. Hey, you know, you have a neighbor that likes to have more quiet, enjoys, you know, being at home quietly, and you might be heard. You can try, instead of just boxing, you can explore that. There may be some change that may happen with those neighbors depending on how you talk with them, or there might not be. And if there isn't, after you've exhausted your various options, then I would contemplate finding an environment that is more conducive to the peace and the beauty and the tranquility.
Mm. I also ask this question in a more general way, you know. And I mean, I have experience when I was for myself in peace. I have experienced interesting changes in people who have been before not very nice to me, and suddenly they make a nice remark or something like this. And so I have experienced this already, but it there seems to be such a mistrust, you know, that it is really like that. Because why do I worry? I worry a lot in my thoughts, and I don't really know how to express it. I mean, I know that you speak the truth, and I think about it every day, and it's the most important thing in my life. And I can't find lasting peace. I just can't find it because then life comes with demands, with noise, with my workplace and this and then comes the mind and says, "Oh, you see, this is all spiritual life, but the real life is different." That's the mind answer to that. And I don't know how to get out of thinking.
Yes. You know, Renate, when there is something in your life that keeps repeating itself, it's calling your attention. Yeah, it's calling your attention to contemplate. And just a couple of things. The spiritual, let's say, use this term, the spiritual inquiry, the spiritual search, the spiritual quest is not about having revelation, like having a revelation of some great enlightenment. It is, our true nature is already enlightened. It's already free. So it's more about releasing the shadows, releasing the contractions that we have in our space, that we maintain. Sometimes we're not even aware of them, and these impressions, these shadows that we maintain in our space, all of them refer to I am a mortal body mind. As long as there is the I am a mortal body mind, there are going to be all sorts of issues, including worries about neighbors, landlords, etc. Also, all sorts of concerns and worries and troubles in the mind and in your dream and in your waking state and so on. So the end of the game is happiness, living a lived happiness, but a freedom, that permeates into your entire life. That there aren't unhappy. Well, some maybe sometimes somebody steps on your foot, but there is nobody that's standing on your foot. Your life has to be 99% happiness. So that's the end game. So what's in the way? What is in the way? The core source of the problems that we experience in our life is not understanding that I am happiness, I am freedom, I am joy, I am this beauty, I am this love. And to live, first we have to really come to that understanding that is what I am. I'm already the freedom that I seek. I'm already the love, the beauty that I seek. Not that I need it, not I have to get it from anything. That I already am. I am this presence, this borderless presence. I am this innate beauty, love, freedom, joy. And on top of that, then I come and I say, well, no, but I'm also a mortal body mind. That immediately spoils the party. Immediately, we have introduced a virus into our happiness. So now it's like, oh my God, I have to worry about me. Okay, I have to worry about me, my life, my health, my clothes, my job, my etc. It's my car, my brother, my sister, and so on. ... Lots of the personal concerns is like infinite thoughts, because thoughts are like a million or 20 million or 30 million. You see. Imagine that every 10 of these thoughts are a concern. You take 20 million, you divide them by 10, you end up with 200,000 concerns. That's a lot. That's a lot of concerns. You see? But it's like that. It is like that. But all of these thoughts, they have one nucleus, the nucleus. One nucleus. The nucleus is, I am a woman, I am a man, I am born, I am this person. But in fact, Renate, I have this aware presence. This awareness, you see, that's so beautiful, effortless. That's the beauty of consciousness, of presence. It is beauty of the self. Is that it's innately beautiful. It's innately radiant, innately blissful, innately free. You see, this is the core contemplation. So the worry, and there is a worry, then to whom are the worries arising? You see, always go back to awareness. I'm perceiving a body, a mental worry, a body-mind worry. You see, I'm perceiving. When you're perceiving a body-mind worry, the worry belongs to the body-mind, you see, and you are the perceiver, but the perceiver is not worried. It's an important distinction, that the worry belongs somewhere else. It belongs at the mind level. But you are not the mind level. You are the awareness level, you see. You just notice that. And as you will notice that, the worries, they quiet down. Why? Because there is a recognition of that which is free. That which is untouched. And the mind settles into that knowingness, into the self that is not an object that is affected by any condition. You see, it's not affected by any condition. That's primary, that's primary. And then you recognize that that which I am, presence, beingness, loves love, beauty, peace, joy, tranquility, happiness, does not live in the concern. That's at the mind level. And so in that, that will lead the way, consciousness will lead the way and change your life. It's not the other way around. It's not the other way around. So when the worries arise, contemplate who really is the worrier. The worrier. Yes, is that the word? Who is the worrier? The one that worries. You will find that that one that worries is this me person that you have taken yourself to be. But you are not me, the person. You are the aware presence. You see, over and over, whichever way it comes to you, because contemplation is very beautiful because there's a lot of freedom in it. It's not like strict practice, boom, repeat this, what am I, what? It's not like that. It has a lot of ways in which it reveals.
Wonderful, yes. Yeah, the curtain is has opened a little bit.
Okay, yes, okay, beautiful, yes, we are. Consciousness is an open curtain. It's beautiful, yes, open curtain. Yeah, I like that metaphor, open curtain, yes. That's a good metaphor for consciousness. Open curtain. Very beautiful talking with you. Yes, nice to see you. Beautiful. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, everyone. Is there any other question? Okay, so thank you very much for your lovely presence, and nice to see you all. And hello, everybody. Isaac, hello, Isaac, Marjorie, Solomon, everybody. Okay, wonderful. Martin and Teresa. Okay, and Priyanka. Very beautiful. Okay, thank you all. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.